really doing everything we can to beat the heat.
We tied records this weekend across our local mountains and deserts. We expect to do so as we start off this week, and an excessive heat warning remains in effect. We'll talk about how hot we're going to get and how long it'll last.
A major music star ends a show because of heat exhaustion. How you can recognize the sign.
I'm very concerned just because I think it's really dry out here.
Firefighters are on high alert amid this ongoing heat wave.
Plus, where you can stay cool with some free AC. We have team coverage on the heat. It's 6 a.m. on Monday, July 17th, and you're watching CBS 8. And we begin with the extreme heat. Right now, CAL FIRE is urging people to be prepared when hitting our hiking trails after a mountain biker died. Crews got a call Saturday afternoon about 4 hikers suffering from dehydration in a remote and rugged area in the Jacumba Mountains. 3 mountain bikers helped crews locate the hikers. The hikers and 2 of the mountain bikers were treated and released, but the 3rd mountain biker died while being transported to the hospital.
The heat also ramps up our risk for wildfires. 2 are burning right now in Riverside County. The Gavilan fire started yesterday near Gavilan Hills and has burned 338 acres. Right now it's 50% contained. And the Rabbit fire started Friday and quickly grew to 7,600 acres and forced evacuations. It's now 25% contained. And all the way east of the Laguna Mountains right now, CAL FIRE in San Diego is responding to a residential fire in Agua Caliente. It started about an hour ago. Now CAL FIRE says there is no threat to surrounding vegetation right now. Thanks so much for joining us here at 6 a.m. I'm Anna Laurel in for Netta Irampour.
And I'm Eric Connor, and we have team coverage on the heat and the fire danger. Chris Crow has more on the message from firefighters, but we begin with meteorologist Evan Irani with the latest on this hot weather. Evan?
Yeah, it is already very hot out there. So we are watching as temperatures climb throughout the rest of our morning into the afternoon. Right now, we have seen some of our overnight lows close to record territory, meaning record hot for your overnight temperature. We did that yesterday for Saturday into Sunday. So Sunday morning, we saw Borrego Springs make it to 89 degrees as their overnight low, near 90 overnight. You can see what our afternoon highs look like. Mountains should be making it into the 90s this afternoon. 114 for the deserts on average. Coastline remains the place to be for a little bit of relief. 76 degrees along the coast, 88 inland, plenty of sunshine this afternoon. And our latest updates do show that this ridge of high pressure is not going anywhere, which means that this heat is going to stick around. We've seen extensions on excessive heat warnings, so it's going to be something that we talk about more in the future, but that heat is not going anywhere. So find ways to stay cool. We have more tips and tricks on our website. And firefighters, they of course are on high alert because of this. Over the weekend, crews were busy battling a fire in Valley Center. CBS 8's Chris Grow is live in Claremont with the message that firefighters want to get out as temperatures continue to rise. Chris, it is still going to be a very hot week ahead and windy with dry conditions.
And everything that you just described right there means that increased odds there for fires, because that is exactly the recipe that leads to a lot of these brush fires, these wildfires that can quickly spread, especially because think about it, Evan, all of that rain that we had during those winter storms, all of that lush greenery, it has turned brown and it is ripe for fire. So that is what CAL FIRE as well as local fire municipalities are spreading the word about, that you have to be careful when out doing work. Now, we saw recently, of course, the Rabbit fire we were just telling you about, that Chula Vista firefighters actually there to help try to put out that fire, to try to tame that. You heard Anna and Eric just talking about only 25% containment. Chula Vista Fire telling us, though, that they do believe that they are still, fine at home here, that when they send and share resources, that does not put anybody back at home in jeopardy, but they wanted to make sure that that word got out. Now, as for what happened locally, we were telling you about Valley Center, 8 acres burned, threatened homes. Thankfully, firefighters were able to get that out quickly. But again, just speaks to how quickly everything is moving right now, especially because of our conditions.
Those winds blow extremely fast. The relative humidities drop extremely fast and they're very low. So that also helps speed up wildfire.
Now, of course, oftentimes when we're talking about fire safety and what you can do, prepare, etc., we talk a lot about making defensible space. But one of the messages that CAL FIRE was delivering just a couple of weeks ago was that now's not really the time to account for a defensible space. That's work that needs to be done before peak fire season. Now, of course, if it's cool outside, if you're able to do it without heavy machinery, now would be a really good time to make sure that gets done. But don't do this this type of work when it is hot outside, when it is windy, and don't use heavy machinery, because that one little spark, ironically, again, you could create a fire and those conditions just by trying to make that defensible space. Eric and Anna.
All right, Chris, thank you for that. This morning, some trails in San Diego County remain closed because of the extreme heat, and here's a list of them. San Diego River Gorge, Cedar Creek Falls, Three Sister Falls, and Eagle Peaks Trail will be closed through today. Remember, the county does have several cool zones where you can enjoy free AC. We have a list of those under the Help button at CBS8.com. We'll check on the hot forecast once again here in just a few minutes. Meantime, the opposite problem in other parts of the country, dealing with heavy rain and flooding.
Oh, yes.
Water washed away a road in New Hampshire, and flash flooding in Pennsylvania killed 5 people. The weather is causing hundreds of flight delays and cancellations across the U.S.
This morning, Alaska Airlines flight attendants say they're planning on picketing at 6 airports, including right here at San Diego International. Negotiations broke down between the union representing the flight attendants and the company. Employees say under previous contract, they had to work for free during parts of their day, including boarding. They also say they don't start getting paid until the door on the aircraft closes. Daily Amtrak service between Oceanside and Irvine resumes this morning. The Pacific Surfliner and Metrolink trains shut down June 5th because of a landslide in San Clemente. Emergency crews just finished a temporary barrier wall to protect the track. The city of San Clemente is continuing to work to stabilize that hillside for the long term. And more than 800,000 student loan borrowers will soon see their debt erased.
This comes after the Supreme Court rejected a broader plan by the Biden administration to offer debt forgiveness to tens of millions. CBS 8's Dana Marie McNichol is live in studio now to explain who qualifies for this. A lot of ears have perked up here.
That's right. Good morning, Eric and Anna. When you hear loan forgiveness, I think so many of us want to know who qualifies. Yeah. So it is a very specific group that I do want to tell you. We did say 2 weeks ago that the Supreme Court invalidated the Biden administration's plan for broad-based student loan forgiveness. You probably saw that headline. Well, this is a completely separate plan that's going to help exactly 804,000 people become debt-free from those federal student loans. So this debt forgiveness is for a very specific group that is already enrolled in the income-driven repayment plan. This is known as IDR. So if this is you, I have good news. This program is designed to reduce monthly loan payments based on a person's payment amount to their income. So people who have accumulated the equivalent of either 20 or 25 years of qualifying monthly payments, they're now eligible for forgiveness. So if you haven't been paying this for the last decade or so, this probably doesn't qualify. Now, the Higher Education Act and Education Department said some borrowers weren't processing towards loan forgiveness, so this forgiveness is response to that. Borrowers with direct loans, federal family education loans held by the Education Department, as well as Parent Plus loans, those are all covered. Now, we spoke to an attorney for greater context. Take a listen.
This loan forgiveness appears to be a matter of right rather than a matter of grace or government discretion. There may be lawsuits, but there is some suggestion, at least in reports that I have read, that this is well within the Secretary of Education's authority to administer the loan program.
Now, many are asking the question, why now? Well, the administration says it does want to fix historical failures in how IDRs were managed, calling it a broken system. The Department of Education said you don't actually have to apply for this debt forgiveness. It's already started notifying those borrowers if they qualify. Eric and Anna.
All right, good to know. Thank you, Dana Marie. Coming off a really hot weekend, and guess what? Things aren't going to change much.
No change.
No.
Isn't that wild?
Nice and hot still.
10-day models show no change.
And it looks like even that it might get hotter.
Might get hotter. So ridge of high pressure kind of weakening today and tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday through Friday, we're warming up a little bit more. So it's not territory we haven't been in, say, last week. Last week we really saw that warm up, but it dwindled a little bit over the weekend and now Monday, Tuesday, and then picks back up by midweek.
Okay, just taking a breath.
Right.
Exactly. Just a healthy, deep breath in, drink some water. This is your reminder at 6:10 exactly. Even if you're not thirsty, it's probably still a good idea to just go get a glass of water. Take a look outside. We've got a little bit of haze along the coast. We even saw on our Mount Soledad camera that was previously not all that socked in, that we have clouds building. So what that denotes is the typical. This is what we've seen all week and for the last 7 days or so. Coastline remains a lot more mild because of the early morning cloud cover that we're seeing and because of that sea breeze. So the combination of the two keeps the coast in the 70s versus when you make your way inland, you see 80s, 90s, and then triple digits for the desert. Sunrise was at 5:53, so we are just about 20 minutes out from it. Sunset, 7:57. Losing a little bit of day length, but that's okay because we are still seeing relatively long days for now. Forecast highs in Santee and El Cajon are expected to reach the 90s yet again. 78 for National City, 83 for San Ysidro, 77 in Coronado and downtown, and 73 in Pacific Beach. We'll take you up to North County. You can see how. In Escondido, we're going for 90. RB, 88 degrees. Poway going for 89 this afternoon, and Ramona 96. So the heat wave is most felt the farther east you go, and that's why an excessive heat warning has now been extended through our San Diego County mountains and deserts through Friday. So this was previously issued last Tuesday and set to expire this Tuesday. Now we have an extension through Friday, and there's a good chance that even beyond that, we could still see a lot of heat in store. So here's the last 14 days along the coast. Notice the difference. 70s, all relatively mild. Wednesday, Thursday of last week, we did hit 80 degrees. We made it about 5 degrees warmer than average. Saturday, Sunday, to wrap up this past weekend, beautiful weekend in San Diego, Pride weekend here, we were a degree cooler than normal, but Hillcrest was still very, very hot because you started to make your way away from the coast and we were climbing. So that stretch from the coast toward your inland valleys, you can see how temperatures are a little bit warmer. 71 for Alpine right now, 67 in Ramona, and 67 in Encinitas. Still a pretty warm start now to our Monday morning, and it's just going to get hotter as the day goes on. Let's take a look at your traffic and see how things are, border wait times specifically. We're checking in with CBP website right now. The wait at the San Ysidro Port of Entry, 45 minutes. So it'll take you just under an hour. Otay Mesa Port of Entry, just under a half hour. Should be waiting about 25 minutes to get into the U.S. And then when you make your way through San Diego County, CBS8.com/traffic has more on what your highway conditions look like. Back to you.
All right, Evan, thank you. Still ahead this morning, a lot more questions on this story that gained national attention, what authorities are saying about a missing woman after she returned home.
Nobody wants to see their child with oxygen and all type of stuff hooked up to them.
An update on a local teenager who got very sick while studying abroad. And country music star Jason Aldean suffers heat exhaustion on stage. How you can spot the warning signs.